Welcome everybody to Dog Training 360 Puppy Series. We're going to go from before the puppy comes home to all the way through a full training course so that you can train your puppy, and we'd love to go along with you. So I'm going to start by going over what you should have in your home before your puppy ever comes home. And the first thing is food, of course. The breeder will typically send some food home with you. If you adopt a puppy, they have some recommendations and will send a little bit of food home as well. My recommendation is this: go to a specific pet store, not a place that sells pets and cats and dogs, is a place that specializes in dog and cat nutrition. The reason why I recommend this is because your answers are there. Any question that you have regarding food, budget, everything that you should have for your puppy is really going to be in that location. If you don't have anything like that near you or close to you, then what I would recommend is joining our course subscriptions. And in there, you can hop on our private Facebook group and ask all those questions and get great suggestions from other dog owners and us as trainers. You can also do a little research on your own and find out what's the best. What's the best is not necessarily what the breeder thinks is best or what your vet thinks is the best. The best is a food that goes along with your nutritional ideas and also your nutritional philosophies on feeding a dog. And I highly recommend, doing your research before you just bring that puppy home and buy puppy chow and, whatever that looks like. Again, the best resource is going to a nutrition-based pet store that you can really get and gain a lot of knowledge from them. You can go and get the knowledge from them and then order it from an online place like Chewy's, which is one of my favorite places to order online if I'm going to order pet supplies or pet food online, and also some other places that I will put in the notes below. But I just can't say that enough. It's one of the number one questions of what do we feed, and are we feeding the right thing? How do you know if you're feeding the right thing? Dogs don't have a palate the same as ours. So what you see on the bag, that it has the taste of beef or it has this flavor, isn't necessarily what your dog is actually tasting. They go more off of smell and texture. And so it's more of an emotional thing to purchase. And so give your puppy time. The best thing is if your dog poop is a good colored brown, small logs, even for a large dog, you should not have a big pile of poop. Even a giant Great Dane, you should not have to be picking up poop like this. You should have nice, firm brown logs. And I know that's kind of a disgusting thing to talk about, but poop says everything about your dog's overall health and how they're doing internally. So get a food, try it for a month, and see what their poop looks like. That'll give you an idea if you're on the right track or not. Don't constantly keep changing their food. You can do some add-ons and some toppers, that's fine, because that'll immediately tell you if that's not sitting well with them. But your base kibble should stay the same, and that's my recommendation on feeding. Next is dog bowls. Dog bowls that are not hooked to each other and attached to separate bowls that can be washed and cleaned, and also water in one and food in the other. Water down all the time. I recommend water outside and less water inside, so it encourages your puppy to go outside, and we'll talk about that in one of our other series about puppy routines. The next thing that you want to think about is a crate. Now, I've got this small one so you can see what I'm talking about. I recommend the plastic travel crates that are airline approved. I don't as a trainer recommend the wire crates because it's very cage feeling, and you'll see throughout all of our information everywhere you go that I recommend that you cover up the crate. Front as well. The reason I cover it up is because it helps your puppy just check out and not be responsible for everything that's going on in the room, and can quietly eat and can quietly sleep. Now, the wire crates, what tends to happen, and the biggest complaint that I get is the puppies will pull the blankets through that's covering the crate. And there's a few workarounds around that, but they still do better overall in this. I can also tell you that these are much easier to clean and much easier to contain the hair. If they have accidents in there, much easier to clean than those wire crates and getting poop off of each individual wire. So overall, plastic, airline approved crate, and your crate should be big enough for whatever your puppy is going to be as an adult. And as an adult, they need to be able to sit down and sit and not and have their heads touch the top of the ceiling. General rule on what size do you get. You don't have to progress up. You don't have to buy a bunch of different sizes of crate. Buy one and get the crate that your dog's going to be as an adult in general. That way, your puppy has the space to grow, to stretch out, to be comfortable and grow into their crate. And we'll talk, and you'll also see, I'll put these in the notes below on our crate training blog, as well as some of our podcasts out there to help you through this journey of why certain things and my recommendations. So right now we'll stick to supplies that you need to have. The next thing that I recommend, you can get these on Amazon. They're these little slip leads, super light, and I hook these on the dog's collar, the puppy's collar. And you'll hear throughout all of this and in many other things that your puppy should have a leash on all the time. Well, these get pretty dirty, and I think you can buy like 50 of them for $20 on Amazon. And I will put the link to that in the notes below as well. But if they get dirty, if they get chewed, you're not overly, worried about your nice leash getting chewed up. But it helps. It's super light. You can grab the leash, you can redirect your puppy, you can scoot him outside. And to start with, I'll just put these in the crates with them on. That's very short-lived, but it's helpful to have just a little rope attached to them so you can redirect and guide and give direction with it. And again, you'll see that in a lot of other series. You'll see that in crate training, and you'll see that throughout a lot of our training courses is using the leash as a tool, and it will really make sense. So just a bunch of little simple, you can do a rope. It doesn't have to be a leash. These are just super handy and easy to have. The next thing that I recommend is a leash, just a general leash, a hook on the end, a handle on the other end. And one of my biggest things when I'm walking a dog and working with dogs, I like to have a leash that feels really good in my hand. And so I tend to get really picky about how things feel, and I do prefer leather leashes over nylon leashes. They just feel better in my hands. But my recommendation is this is about a 6-foot leash, and whatever feels good in your hand, okay? I have a bunch of leashes that you're going to be getting. The next thing that I recommend is you'll hear throughout the puppy series of back tying, connecting your dog to you, holding onto the leash. And sometimes when I've got a puppy and I'm training and I'm doing dishes, I need to hook. So I would recommend having some carabiners. And then also, I really like these. You can get them at JJ Dog Supply, and I'll put their link in the show notes down below. But it's a slip lead. It's something that all of my dogs progress into. I don't like having to put a lot of things on, and we'll get into equipment in some of our other videos, but a slip lead is very handy, and it's something that lasts a lifetime. I have these for a long time, And it's really helpful in training and progression with everything as well. The last leash is, here it is, I'm going to start winding it up. This is a 10-foot leash. Long line, you'll hear them called. And with this, the reason why I recommend is this, you'll see in a lot of the videos that the dogs and the puppies that I'm training in the videos will all have a long line on them. I can give them space to explore. I can reel them in. I get to set the gauge, but also out walking, which you'll see what we're going to do. There's just so much value in training and working your puppy on a long line and creating boundaries and expectations. There's so much value to this. So a 10-foot, 15 is the longest I go. Anything more than that, you're just managing constantly. So I like a 10-foot. I also like them to not have a handle on them because eventually they start dragging this, and I don't want it to get caught on things. I will put the link also below in where to get these at. They're nice. You can wash them. If they get wet, they float. There's just a lot of value in this type of leash here. And it's a long line. The next thing is, as you're training your puppy, sorry about that, I bent over, a big bag of dog treats. Now, I either recommend using your dog's food, kibble, for training, or something that's this is real meat, no other ingredient other than meat in it. And this is what I like to train with. I have found that it's the easiest on their tummies and they don't get upset. A lot of other treats can be upsetting to your puppy's belly, and especially in the beginning as you get training, you're doing a lot of treats and you just want their belly to be easy and not get diarrhea from treats. So I like to have it's not raw, it's a dehydrated, this is air dried, grain-free, gluten-free. I mean, it's just really all natural. Or I will use their kibble to train with. So get a big bag, pretty much using a whole bag like this through your puppy training in the series, and you're done enough of them. So a big bag would be great. And I can put a link to these as well down below, so you can kind of get an idea of what I use and what that looks like. The next thing that I like to have for puppy training is a treat bag. This is pretty big. It has a lot of pockets on it. For me, when I have them on me, I can kind of stick my poo bags and everything else in here as well. And so I like treat bags. Get one that you like, get one that's stylish for you, get one that talks to you. It's gonna be your friend for a while. And it's just easy. What I typically do with my treat bags is I stick a baggie in there, and so then I can seal up the treats when I'm not using it, and that way my treats don't go bad of the treats that I have in my treat bag. Okay, this is the fun stuff. I can go shopping for puppies all day long. What kind of toys and what should I get my puppy? The first thing that I recommend is chew things that have value. These are bully sticks. They're some of my faves for puppies. I think that making sure that your puppy has high value things to chew on. One, dogs are very oral and they love to chew. And if you give them this versus the leg of your couch, they're going to choose this, okay? And stuff that is value to them and also calorie based. So tendons, bully sticks, raw bones, everything that's organic and real. Pig ears tend to be a little bit greasy. Some dogs do fine with it, others don't. I don't like to do the hooves because they can break off in chunks and they eat them, and then they usually end up throwing them up, and it's not a very pleasant experience. So high value, calorie based, no rawhide. Rawhide does not digest, it creates blockage. Just too dangerous out there. No rawhide whatsoever, in my opinion. Things that are calorie based and that they get some nutritional value from it is really good. Now the next thing that I always look at is toys with textures. Textures and different shapes that makes them curious. Puppies are curious and they want to put things in their mouth and they want to see how it feels in their mouth and they want to understand it. And so things that are different textured, and these are the kind of balls I like to start with that it's called a super chewer, it helps me start building connection. This is a toy that I bring out. I play because I don't want him chewing this nylon, swallowing it, causing blockage, chewing up the plastic on this toy. So this is a toy that I would bring out and play with my puppy, and then when we're done playing, it would be put away. So things with texture that could potentially harm them if they got left with it to chew up are toys that I bring out, I play with my puppy, and I put them away. The next thing is different textures. Again, this is rubber. They can chew it. Now, with their puppy teeth, they're not going to do much with this, but as they grow up, they'll start destroying it. So you'll decide at what point that it's a toy that you need to bring out and play with them, or if it's a toy that they can have to play with themselves, okay? I don't give my puppies stuffed toys because they de-stuff them. They eat stuffing. They eat the eyeballs, they eat the noses, and then also it's a texture, it's a feel, and they look like stuffed animals. So having kids, I don't want my puppies getting into chewing up my kids' stuffed animals, and also maybe a fluffy pillow on the couch. So no stuffed animals here. I don't think they're the greatest. If you play with them and then put them away, that's fine. But I just don't think that dogs should have stuffed animals that they're going to destroy and de-stuff. Now, some dogs get attached to one or two and they carry them around and they don't destroy them. And you can try that and see, but just be aware you don't want them ingesting things and getting sick from them. And then lastly, I like these a lot. They are different textures and shapes of, they say they're peanut butter flavor, but I don't think the dogs can taste it. But they're different shapes and textures of things for them. And these are the toys that I leave down for my puppies outside to play with. They're great outside because they can withstand the weather. They're not there's no value to them as far as calories go, but they like to play with them and lay down and chew and gnaw on them. So these are definitely the toys that I get that I leave down for my puppies to chew on and do stuff with, that I don't have to pick them up every time and bring them out when I want to play with them. So that right there, in a nutshell, is the things that you should have before your puppy arrives home. And you notice I didn't have any pee pads. I didn't have any extra things. The last thing that I would like to say is we tend to buy little itty bitty things for our little itty bitty puppies. And my recommendation is this: get them toys that fit the size that they will be as an adult. One, they'll last longer, and two, they don't know they're little. And they like big things. They like big, bulky, textury type things. So get your toys based on the size of dog that they will be as an adult, and your puppies will stay engaged with them a lot longer. And it will be easier for your puppy to really get into chewing on what you want them to chew on, or playing with what you want them to play with when they've got big dog things. So treat them like a big dog, even though they're itty bitty. They can get their mouth on the big dog things. So ask me questions below, share things, things that you've experienced, maybe even some of the things that you have liked or what you have found that you've liked, or again, questions. Hey, is this good? What do you think about this? I would love to have a conversation with you. So start asking and give me some ideas of where you're at. Share what kind of puppy you have or the puppy that you're going to be getting. Pictures are great too. Also, give us a follow over on Instagram at Dog Training 360 Online. And also Facebook is Dog Training 360. Would love to connect with you there as well. And also Let's chat below.